I've uploaded all the best decks from Arena 1 to Arena 23 to help you push trophies. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any. So, you're in Arena 6? Or maybe you're grinding your way up to get there? Yeah, Arena 6 can feel a bit tough, but trust me, it's not that hard once you know what you're doing. And I'm here to make sure you do. Now listen, we can build a lot of decks in Arena 6, but I'm not here to waste your time with trash combos just to stretch this video and make more money. Nope, I'm here to bring you real value, only the best decks that actually work. So, let's break it down. What are the main troops you get in Arena 6? We've got Pekka, Hog Rider, Mortar. Okay, maybe Mortar isn't top tier for everyone, but hold on. We can also cook up powerful decks using Giant, Goblin Barrel, and Battle Ram. Yeah, we're not making some weird random decks with archers and regular goblins. Nah, we're going straight to the best meta combinations. All right, here's the list. These are the troops I'm going to use to build the best deck combos in this video. In this entire video, I'll show you the best decks based on 6 main cards: Giant, Pekka, Hog, Mortar, Goblin Barrel, and Battle Ram. So let's kick things off with the Mortar decks. So what happens most of the time with Mortar decks? Let me show you in this clip. You gotta cycle your Mortar right at the bridge as soon as you can, so it locks onto the tower. But your opponent will always try to destroy it, right? That's why you need backup. Minions, Musketeer, right? Mini Pekka, whatever you've got, to protect that Mortar so it stays locked and keeps hitting the tower non-stop. And not just troops, buildings play a huge role too. Right after you drop Mortar, placing an Inferno, Tesla, Bomb Tower, anything like that helps protect your Mortar and also defends against big troops like Pekka, Balloon, Mega Knight. So yeah, taking at least one building with your Mortar is a must. Also remember, Mortar isn't only for attacking. Sometimes you should use Mortar on defense, depends on the situation. So how to defend with Mortar decks? Easy. Bring skeletons, goblins, or any low-cost defensive troops along with your buildings to counter big pushes like Pekka, Prince, or Mega Knight. You'll see what I mean in this clip right here. Now look, this is exactly what I was talking about. I'm going to defend these big troops easily with just mini Pekka and a building in the Mortar deck. Watch how simple it is. Need more decks for Arena 6? Or want decks focused on specific troops like Mortar, Pekka, or Battle Ram? Head over to ewcgaming.com, made just for you. Choose your favorite troops and find the best decks to push trophies fast. Links in the description, check it out now. Anyway, now let's jump into the video. Here's the first Mortar deck. I'll use this just as I explained before. Look, the game hasn't even started properly, and he already drops a cannon and Earthquake. All right, no problem. So I thought, why not start with a fireball instead of Mortar? I dropped the fireball, and boom, he brings out his queen. Let's see how this plays out. I easily defended the queen using mini Pekka and minions. Then he pushed with royal hogs. This is exactly why having a building in your Mortar deck is so important. Watch how perfectly it defends. Now it's time to use Mortar, so I dropped Tombstone with Valk to protect it. My plan was to set up the Mortar safely. But nope, he hits back with Earthquake and Queen, so yeah, first attempt failed. Alright, second attempt. I dropped Cannon with Valk and Mini Pekka, just like I explained earlier, to protect my Mortar. He tried with the Queen again, but nope, I had Fireball ready and boom, she's gone. Then he drops guards to stop the Mortar, but my minions cleaned them up. And guess what? Mortar locked on his tower. GG. He's trying so hard with royal hogs to break through my tower. Like, chill, bro. But nah, I've got buildings and cheap troops ready to shut all of that down. Now look, I tried so many times to connect my Mortar to his tower, but it just wasn't happening. So what do you do in this kind of situation? Simple. Use throwables like Fireball or Rocket. Just cycle them fast, especially if you're in a sudden death match. That chip damage matters. Like in this match, I connected my Mortar early, but later on, no chance. So I kept cycling Fireballs and boom, took the win in sudden death. Watch this.
Another one.
And I won the game. Now it's time for the second Mortar deck. Here it is. This time, we're taking both Fireball and Rocket, perfect for defense and clutch cycling at the end if your Mortar can't connect. I dropped my Mortar right at the bridge to go all in, but bro? Like I said before, buildings are super important in a Mortar deck. Now look at this. He's pushing with Battle Ram and Goblin Gang, and yeah, it could have crushed my tower. But nah, I had my Tombstone and Archers ready. Easy defense. Always look for value. Like here, he drops the Elixir Collector. I could have used Fireball, sure, but let's learn something. The Elixir Collector costs 6 Elixir, and my Rocket also costs 6. But the Rocket not only hits the Collector, it also deals massive tower damage. That's a positive Elixir trade. He spends 6, I spend 6, but I get more value. In Clash Royale, always aim for positive trades. If your opponent drops a 6 Elixir troop and you defend it with just 4 or 5 Elixir, congrats, you're mastering the game. That's why I use the Rocket here, to break the Collector and get that sweet value. All right, I dropped my Mortar again, and boom. With the help of Archers backing it up, I somehow managed to connect it to his tower. Now it's defense time with Mortar. I dropped it right in the middle, and with a perfect Fireball, I wiped out his 3 Musketeers. He tried to follow up with Elite Barbarians, but nah. Tombstone down, Archers in place, and boom, defended like a pro. And in the end, I dropped the Mortar, started cycling the Rocket, and boom, game over, victory secured. So it's time for Pekka decks, literally the most powerful decks of all time in Arena 6. Let me tell you in one sentence what you have to do with Pekka decks. Just push Pekka with the support of Hog or Battle Ram, troops that are favorites for breaking defenses. And if your opponent drops a troop or building, use Fireball or any throwable to clear them and hit the tower. Basically, for Pekka decks in Arena 6, you must include Pekka and pair it with Hog or Battle Ram. These troops help break through buildings like Tesla or Inferno that opponents usually drop when you push Pekka. And don't forget, when you push Pekka, your opponent will always try to distract it with skeletons, minions, or any swarm units. That's why Fireball or arrows are a must in your deck to clear those out so Pekka can reach the tower easily. Now, let's talk defense. Yeah, Pekka is great for offense, but what about defending? You can easily defend against big troops like Mega Knight with Pekka. And for backup, when your opponent is pushing with big troops, you should always include buildings like Inferno Tower, Tesla, or even Graveyard, and also support troops like Goblins, Skeletons, Witch, and Minions. Why? Because when your opponent pushes, you can easily defend their troops using the building, and with the help of these small troops like Goblins, Skeletons, or Witch, it becomes super easy to stop any kind of push. That's it. Pekka on offense, Pekka on defense, clean support strategy. Now, let's jump into the gameplay. So if you're looking for specific Pekka decks in Arena 6, don't worry. Just head over to my website, ewcgaming.com, cheap/ewcgaming.com. You can choose your favorite troops and get the best deck combos made just for you. All the top Arena 6 decks are waiting there. Links in the description, check it out. So here's the first deck for Pekka. I will use this deck exactly as I explained earlier. I deployed Battle Ram with Goblins, but he defended it really well. Now let's deploy the Pekka and see how well it works. He dropped Skeleton Dragons, but no worries. I used Fireball to clear them. I placed a Musketeer behind the Pekka to give some support, and then he dropped a Valkyrie. But we've got something powerful. Pekka easily took her down. He also deployed a Flying Machine, but still, we managed to deal massive damage to his tower.
I'm fastest, boy.
I was planning a push with Battle Ram and Goblins, and right then, he dropped the Lava Hound. Perfect. That means he doesn't have anything left to defend his tower, so I took the chance and easily destroyed it. So, he was playing with a Lava Hound balloon deck, and I defended the balloon using minions and took care of the Lava Hound with my Musketeer. The defense was clean, and in the end, I pushed with Pekka and Musketeer to destroy his second tower. He tried to take my tower with a final balloon push, but nope, he couldn't. I won the game. Here are more decks for Pekka in Arena 6. Check out my website, link is in the description. Here is deck 4, the second Pekka deck. This one includes Hog. Let's check it out. I pushed my Hog with Flying Machine, and he deployed his Queen. No worries, I had my fireball ready. I still managed to take some solid damage on his tower. He has Royal Hogs and Earthquake, a powerful combo. Anyway, I defended it easily using Goblin Hut and Witch. I tried to push with my Pekka and Flying Machine, but he deployed his Queen and Royal Delivery. Solid defense. Anyway, after some time, I pushed with my Hog and destroyed his tower. Now look, just because you're using a Pekka deck doesn't mean you always have to rely on Pekka to take down towers. You should also use your other troops smartly. Like in this clip, Pekka didn't break his tower, Hog did. Here you can see more specific decks for Pekka. Just head over to my website, ewcgaming.com, link is in the description. Now it's time for Hog Decks. Let's dive into the most powerful strategies you can use. So, in Hog Decks, your main goal is to push your Hog Rider to the opponent's tower. And to make that successful, you must always back it up with spells like Fireball, arrows, or any other throwable cards. Why? Because most of the time, your opponent will defend with buildings or swarm troops. Like here, when I drop my Hog, he places a building. That's when I throw a Fireball or arrows, clear the defense, and let the Hog hit the tower. If your opponent uses Skeleton Army, Goblins, or Minions, same rule. Clear them out with spells while Hog goes straight to the tower. Now let's talk about one of the most annoying buildings, Inferno Tower. It's deadly for Hog. So here's the trick. Use your low elixir troops like Skeletons, Minions, or Goblins before dropping the Hog. That way, Inferno locks onto those small troops instead of Hog. And while it's busy, the Hog breaks it down. You can also help with Fireball or arrows to finish the tower faster. Simple strategy. Now let's talk defense. You need buildings like Tombstone, Cannon, or Bomb Tower, and also low-cost troops like Goblins and Skeletons. Combine them with high-damage air troops like Musketeer, Baby Dragon, or Skeleton Dragons. For example, if your opponent pushes with Pekka, drop Tombstone and Goblins, then support with Musketeer. Easy defense. If he pushes with Mega Knight, use Cannon and Skeletons to distract, then add Baby Dragon or Musketeer to finish it. That's how Hog Decks work. Offense with support spells, defense with smart troop combos. Let's jump into the first Hog deck. So, this Hog deck is with Goblin Barrel. I started the match by launching the Goblin Barrel, but he countered it with Log. He started pushing with Royal Giant, and I tried to defend with Inferno Tower, but he protected it well using Fireball. No worries, I had Skeleton Army, easy defense. Then I launched my Goblin Barrel again, and this time he didn't have Log. He tried to defend with Firecracker, but still, I managed to hit his tower. Now time to push Hog with Goblin Barrel, the main motto of this deck. Yeah, it did perform a little, but well. I defended the Witch with Zap and Musketeer. Here he again trying to push with Royal Giant with Firecracker and Electro Wizard, but I defended it. Anyway, in the end, I won the game by cycling Zap and Fireball continuously. Here is the second Hog deck, deck number 6. This is a simple Hog deck with Valk and Musketeer, but powerful. I made a mess after starting the game. I dropped my Valk at the right place, but I placed the Tombstone in the wrong place. That's why he damaged my tower. But no worries, there's Valk and Guards. Now I can push my Hog easily with these as backup. And yeah, I hit his tower. Now again, he is pushing his Battle Ram, but I have Tombstone to protect it. I defended it with my Tombstone, and it's time to push my Hog Rider again. With the help of Fireball, I pushed my Hog smoothly and hit his tower. He continuously tried to push his Battle Ram, and I destroyed his tower with my Musketeer. In the end, I won the game. Now time for Goblin Barrel decks. Basically, Goblin Barrel decks might not be the most used in Arena 6, but trust me, Goblin Barrel is one of the main troops at this level. That's why I gotta show you this deck. So, here's what usually happens. Most people don't use full log bait decks in Arena 6, and that's fine. But when you're using a Goblin Barrel deck, your job is to bait out the opponent's spells, especially log or arrows. How? Simple. Take swarm troops like Goblins, Spear Goblins, Goblin Gang, Minions, anything that forces your opponent to use their spell early. Once they use their log or arrows on your swarm troops, boom, that's your moment. Launch your Goblin Barrel right onto their tower when they can't defend it, and get massive chip damage. Now, the second way to use Goblin Barrel is with tank troops, like Giant, Hog, or Pekka. When you push with them, your opponent will obviously drop buildings like Tesla or Inferno to stop them. This is when you throw your Goblin Barrel right on their defense. It'll distract or destroy the building, giving your tank a free path to the tower. That's the real strategy with Goblin Barrel decks. Bait and burst damage. Alright, let's jump into the gameplay. Here's the deck 7, Hog with Goblin Barrel. This deck is simple. I push my Hog with Goblin Barrel. If my opponent drops any defense, I drop the Goblin Barrel on the defense so the Hog can destroy it easily and hit the tower. I start my match with Goblin Barrel and Fireball, and I hit the tower a little bit. He pushes Goblin Machine with Drill, but don't worry, I've got the best defensive troop, Mini Pekka. Mini Pekka wipes the Goblin Machine, Valk handles the Goblin Drill, and I push my Hog again. His tower locks onto the Hog, I drop Goblin Barrel, he's got nothing to stop it. GG, his tower takes massive damage. Literally, again the same thing happened. His tower locked on my Hog, and he had nothing to stop my Goblin Barrel. I finished his tower easily. This deck is so good for Arena 6. Anyway, in the end I won the game by cycling Fireball and Goblin Barrel. There's honestly not too much to say about Battle Ram decks, especially in Arena 6. Because let's be real, most players don't even use Battle Ram here. But I'm still targeting those few players who do want to give Battle Ram decks a shot in Arena 6. So let's go. It's pretty simple. Push with the Battle Ram and back it up with troops like Mini Pekka, minions, or anything you trust to break through the defenses. Think of it this way. If your opponent drops a Tesla or Inferno tower, your backup troops, like Mini Pekka or minions, will help take it down so the Battle Ram can crash into the tower and do massive damage. Still not enough? No worries. Include Fireball or arrows in your deck. Use them to destroy the buildings or defending troops your opponent drops. That'll clear the path for your Battle Ram to land a clean hit on the tower. And for defense? Easy. You can run Cannon or Inferno Tower, and with support from Valk, Mini Pekka, or minions, defending against enemy pushes becomes super easy. Clear? Alright, let's jump into the gameplay. Here's the first Battle Ram deck. He started this game with Miner. I have minions to defend it easily. He also dropped the boss Bandit. For defending, I dropped my Valk and Musketeer. Now look, I also deployed my Battle Ram, but this time it failed.
Bruh.
And again, I pushed my Battle Ram with Mini Pekka, and now I managed to damage his tower somehow. And after some time, I pushed my Battle Ram again with Fireball. Now I totally finished his tower easily. You can copy more specific and more decks for Arena 6 and also for Battle Ram. Go to my website, link in the description. Now look, in upper arenas like Arena 6 to 10, most players don't really use decks with Battle Ram, Giant, etc. You know what the common troops are. That's why you saw I was struggling to hit my opponent's tower with Battle Ram. Anyway, I'm still showing Battle Ram and Giant decks because I know some players still need these kinds of decks. Now, time for Giant decks. And here it is, the Giant deck. Honestly, there's nothing much left to explain about Giant decks at this point. You already know the strategy, so here's the deck. But this Giant gameplay was literally weird. Why? Just watch it. He was pushing with Executioner and Ice Wizard, and yeah, I defended with Valk and Baby Dragon. After that, he deployed his Elixir Golem. I finished it easily. And then I dropped my Giant as I planned with Valk and Baby Dragon for support. But out of the blue, I don't know why. He left the game, and I won the match. Need more decks? Head over to my website ewcgaming.com. Link is in the description. See you in the next video. Till then, push your trophy.